All right, let me just preface this by saying I'm about to just yap. All right, this is not going to be a highly edited video. So if you have the attention span of a squirrel, then I suggest you just go ahead and leave right now because I'm just about to, drop some value and just talk to y'all, one on one. It's just me and you here, right? So that being said, so many real estate agents are losing track of why exactly they're posting in the first place. Maybe you've been doing this for some years. Maybe it's only been a couple months. Whatever the situation may be, at some point, you start to question yourself. Why exactly am I making this video? Like, who is this for? Who am I actually trying to reach here? What is the point of this? And usually it always comes down to this thing. You're just trying to stay active. You're just trying to keep your face out there, maybe let people know that you're still here. Hey guys, I'm still here. I'm still a real estate agent. Choose me if you need me. And I believe that's a bad way of thinking about things, a horrible way of thinking about things when it comes to actually creating content and posting on social media, especially consistently. Like if you think that way with all of your posts eventually, and you're just in a load of trouble, I suggest you just either stop posting completely or just, really just figure out what actually works, because it's not that, right? And so I need you to understand, and this is for most of you, because when you post, you have a goal of reaching as many people as possible. You want to go viral. You want that dopamine of, so many followers coming in, so many views, so many likes. Like it's a dopamine hit, and you crave that. A lot of us do. That's normal. Not saying you're wrong for that, but I think you need to change your way of thinking in terms of what you're doing to do that. Like what you're doing in order to try to go viral. Like if you're, some type of comedic person and you're just trying to, blow up your page with a comedic skit of some sort, or if you're trying to, go all out with your showing of a house, whether it be some acting going on or, this high production, videotape of this property, making you look like some type of celebrity, whatever the case may be, I think you need to kind of understand that your audience isn't craving weird in that sort of way, because weird is what they see up and down their timeline. Like they're already used to weird. And by the way, you trying to stand out is actually making you blend in. And I hate to put it that way, but that's how it is. You trying to stand out in a crowd full of other agents is actually making you blend in with everybody, because everybody's trying to stand out. So what happens when everybody tries to go a funky direction or a different way with, showing a house or talking about this and that neighborhood? What happens when everybody starts to do that? When everybody just loses their marbles and wants to be the funny guy, the funny girl. They want to be the most entertaining, the most fancy about it. Well, then everybody seems the exact same. And it's like we've kind of lost track where it used to be everybody's just doing things a very simple way, sometimes even boring, right? You'd like to bore your audience here and there just because it gets the point across, just because, you're here for a reason. You're trying to keep your professionalism, whatever the case may be. At some point in time, that was the normal. Now I think the new normal is actually trying to stand out. And sometimes it just doesn't work. It's like a lot of you try to stand out so much that you kind of lose your wits about you. You kind of lose what actually is working. You kind of lose the direction that your audience actually wants to see your content go, and that is very, very simple. Things are returning to a very simplistic way, especially in terms of actually doing business with somebody, reaching out to them. Your audience is now drawn way more to your normality rather than your, wittiness or whatever you may be doing to try to stand out, which is actually putting you in a, pool of people the exact same. Whatever you may be doing, that is no longer what your audience is drawn to. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying it's not what a audience is drawn to. A lot of people love that type of content. Like it entertains them. And most of those people being your colleagues, by the way, a lot of your other agents around your city or even just anywhere, you love that type of content, right? They love it. Not only does it give them new ideas that they can kind of, take from and pick from, but it's entertaining because they understand that type of language. They understand that type of humor you may be doing. They understand that type of, weirdness about the job, right? But just because they understand, just because it's hitting a whole lot of people and entertaining everybody, right, doesn't mean it's necessarily the best piece of content for your audience, not for other agents, but for your audience. And even further, for your audience to be able to reach out to you and say, hey, I wanted more information on this, or hey, can you help me out with this? No, it's just an entertainment, factor when it comes to them. When they watch it, when they see you in that form, they say, okay, I've seen this over and over again. This is cool. This is funny, but I have no reason to really, reach out to this person. I have no reason to, move the needle forward with this specific person. Obviously, I like their personality somewhat from what I've seen, just because they, put themselves out there in a different way. Is not in the necessarily more professional manner. And I kind of like that because I can relate to that. In that case, then yeah, sure. But not only are you doing it like not the best way, but you kind of look like a walking commercial while you're doing it. Like it kind of comes off as somebody who is trying to say, hey guys, this is me, look at me, me. And I always call that, selfish content. What you need with your content is very selfless content in terms of getting business. Now, if you are actually aiming for the views, the likes, the comments, followers, if you're actually aiming for that type of thing, then I'd say, yeah, that's the direction you want to take it. Go for it. But I know a lot of you actually want to start getting way more business from your content than just likes and views, right? Understand that your normality, you being normal, is what makes you different. Since everything is already headed in the direction of, hey guys, look at me, look what I can do. Ha, I'm funny. Ha, I'm cool. I'm fancy, whatever the case may be. Since everything is already headed in that direction, what you do to stand out, I'm about to explain the purple cow method, right? Imagine driving down the road with some big fields off to the side of you, each side, right? And you see a cow here, you see a cow there. You keep on seeing cows, right? And after a while, right, after you see all these different cows, you just start to stop noticing them. Like you stop noticing that there's even cows just because you've seen so many of them. And all of a sudden you keep on driving and you see a purple cow. And you kind of lock back and you kind of wake back up and say, whoa, yeah, that was a cow, but that one was a little bit different, right? Why did that one catch my attention? Well, because it's purple. It's still a cow. You've seen a bunch of cows while you've been driving. You've seen so many that you've stopped paying attention to them, but there just happened to be one cow that got your attention because it was purple. It was different. You'd probably point it out, take a picture, send it to somebody, say, hey, I just saw this cow. Okay, you saw a cow, great news, but it was purple. Oh, wow. Now the game changes a little bit, So although making these fancy videos and making these comedic skits and whatnot, those things are good, right? Those things in your head may be making your brand just a little bit better because your production value gets better. You get more personable, so you think, with your audience. But while you think you're getting better, you're not getting different. And I guarantee being a little bit different is just that much better than just being better. Again, guys, everybody is doing the exact same thing in terms of trying to be seen by anybody and everybody. And the way they go about that is doing things that aren't necessarily the traditional way, which is good. I applaud that, but it's in a way that doesn't target a specific audience. It's in a way that doesn't actually move the needle. It has no face value to it in terms of, hey, I should reach out to this person because of this video. While they're doing that, trying to become the best, there's a realtor out there in one corner of the internet saying, hey, I'm going to keep on posting this way, right? The simple way. And because I'm going to keep on doing that, I will eventually become the authority in my niche, which is, your city, real estate, some type of real estate, whatever the case may be. I will eventually become the authority in this niche and people will reach out to me at scale compared to everybody else trying to just be different, trying to just be the best, right? That person is the purple cow. Like you want to be different in a way where it helps not only you, but your audience as well. And many people in a world full of selfish real estate agents when it comes to making content, right? In a world full of that, you can be the one person who says, I'm going to be selfless with my content and make this and make that stuff that they actually want to see, tell them what they want to hear, meet them where they are and speak their language. Most importantly, that right there is the different that you need to go after. Like that is the different that many people miss. Be the purple cow that becomes so different that it's kind of hard for people not to remember you whenever they think about, whatever you're offering. And if normal is different, if that's the way that things are moving again, then just be normal. Just be you. You don't have to put on this act whenever you hop on social media. You don't have to, put on this facade that, hey, Look at me, guys. No longer do you have to do that just to be seen and be liked. You can finally, again, get away with being yourself, but just giving people what they want to see and telling them what they want to hear. Making actual good content while still being yourself. That's exactly what's going to be the difference maker. That's exactly what's going to move the needle for your audience. And that's exactly how normal real estate agents are just blowing up, right? And when I say blowing up, let's get into that part now. When I say blowing up, you have to blow up within the right way in front of the right audience, And that's the part that many people miss. When I say, go viral and go blow up, right? Go blow up your social media, it's not ever in a way where it's just do anything and everything to do that. No, if you learn to do it the right way and always be in front of the right audience, so whenever it does happen, that it happened the right way and that you don't have to worry about most of those people seeing your content being people that you'll probably never work with in your life, but rather those who are seeing your content being the ones that will eventually have to reach out to someone like you. When you blow up in that sense, where it's in a mini corner of the internet, instead of all the internet, you have much more stronger impacts here. You have much stronger conversion rates over here than you do just any and everywhere. Because if you think about it, those metrics will not matter if your view to contact ratio just isn't good. And what I mean by that, if you get 1,000 views and let's say, 50 people contact you because of those 1,000 views, that's amazing, right? But there may be somebody who gets 100,000 views and still only gets 50 people to contact them through that many views. That's pretty much not the best ratio to work with. Because again, guys, if the goal is to get more business, then you need to worry not about how many views and followers you may be getting, but what's your ratio? Like, what are you actually getting from those metrics that tells you that, hey, this is working, that this is actually getting me business? That's what actually matters. And once you figure out what's actually working with your content and what's actually not only getting you views, but getting people to contact you over and over again at a very good volume, that is your format working. That is your content working. And you need to learn how to do that over and over again, right? When you find a format that works for you, let's say you just do a walkthrough tour, right? And you find that it got 100,000 views and it got 150 people to contact you. And then let's say you do a, green screen video when you're talking about a home, and that also got 100,000 views, but it only got, 20 people to contact you. Why would you continue to do the green screen when you obviously see that the walkthrough tour format is working even better for your page, not only for your page, but for your actual, view to contact ratio? Why would you do that? And you can literally just pull that information, pull the metrics and the analytics from that video that worked extremely well in terms of people actually reaching out to you from it. Why don't you just take that format and do it over and over and over again? Because it's obviously not only working for you, but also your audience. I mean, that's the way that social media works. Once you find out what actually works in terms of getting you business, you double down on it. You do it over and over again. And with that also comes recognition with that format and with that type of content, right? If you find that that certain piece of content may be working for you better than all the other types of content on your page, and you actually do it over and over again, then people start to recognize you as the guy who does those nice walkthrough tours. Guess what? They like your content. They're going to reach out whenever it's time to reach out. They feel that you get the value in the best way possible every single time. And sometimes it's not even the case that you may be the best at what you're doing. It's just the way that you're showing people, the format in which you're giving that information to people and showing people what they want to see is the best. So with that, they feel like, oh, wow, this person understands what I like to see. This person really, knows how to connect with me. I already feel connected to this person. And they do it so much that I have no choice but to keep on feeling that connection with this person. That alone right there is enough to supersede everybody who's not necessarily doing the best at their content and doubling down on the things that work and just saying, hey, look at me. I've done this much in volume this past quarter. I'm better than anybody else in my city. Those type of guys, you know them. Figuring out which type of content works and actually owning that lane instead of renting the whole highway of saying, hey, I'm going to do this format and this one and this one, and I'm going to just keep on doing it over and over again and see which one sticks. And even if I do find that out, I'm just going to continue to do everything instead of renting the whole highway, trying to get a piece of everything here and there whenever it feels necessary. Own a lane. That is your lane that you need to literally own and take force to. That is you hyper-focusing your way to becoming the authority within your niche, within your city as a real estate agent, right? And by the way, guys, that can not only work with the format of your videos, with the actual, way that you're going about making this content, but that can apply to the industry itself, owning a lane instead of renting the whole highway. Let's say you got two real estate agents in San Diego, California, right? And both of their content screams something different. One screams that, hey, I'm a realtor, I can help you move. I'm your guy, I can help you do this and that. And then the other one screams, hey, I'm the best at showing you these type of houses in this type of neighborhood for this type of person. And I do it over and over and over again. What happens when somebody is actually looking for a home in that neighborhood, whether it be the home that he described or the type of person he described it for, just because it's in that neighborhood, just because they specified it a little bit more, they reduced the highway to just a singular lane, maybe two, just because they are a little bit more specific in who they were targeting with their content and it's actual good content, that person will reach out to them. Even though there's a person over here who generalizes in everything, they can help any and everybody with everything. I guarantee the person who's more specific with their intention on who this is for, that person will always be the one that gets reached out to first, just because they spoke an audience's language and not just generalized terms and generalized speaking and, hey, I'm just another realtor type talk. But that's exactly how normal people, normal realtors are just blowing up on social media the right way. That is because they are capitalizing off something that's different nowadays, which happens to be normal. Their normality is different. So they capitalize off the fact that they can make simple content now, that they can get away with it and still get great results, just like all these big dogs in the industry. And they don't focus on blowing up in front of everybody. They focus on blowing up with a very specific audience. They realize that. And once they do that, they now own a lane just because they went about it that way. And when everybody else needs to get in that lane, whether it be with a certain house, neighborhood, schools, whatever the case may be, when everybody even thinks about that lane, they will think about the person who owns it. So that's the spiel for today. I hope that made sense for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I like to yap sometimes. And so this is just one of those ones where I just hop on camera, just talk to y'all. And again, if you are looking to make social media your #1 lead source, the most chill way possible, then join the community. Check out the link down below in the description. And until then, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I will be posting pretty much weekly, several times a week. And so I would hate for you to miss any one of those, especially if you are one of the ones taking your real estate business serious when it comes to social media. I will see y'all next time.